Oh, just give me a minute. Okay, it's coming. Something went wrong. Okay. Wait. It's around. Okay, is this 451 as well? Is it resume from? Schedule. Are we resuming from 451? I just want a confirmation. I need to check also. And the original Sanskrit. Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay, resume. Just a minute. Okay. अथ प्रकटतां लब्धे व्रजेन्द्र वीते महे तत्र प्रकटयत्येष.
Roji, you stopped at 448 last time.
Is
You have to
it?
start from 449.
But I thought,
No, 449 you have to start from.
but this we didn't read. Look, we read this. This must refer to the simultaneous birth of the same male son.
We finished 450. So
I remember reading all this. There's a long argument given by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan following Vishnu Chakravarti from from Bhagavatam and primarily from Harivamsha, that Krishna himself was simultaneously born in two different places, to Devaki Devi and Yashoda Devi. अथ प्रकटतां लब्धे व्रजेन्द्र विहिते महे तत्र प्रकटयत्येष लीला बाल्यादिकः क्रमात् करोति याः प्रकाशेषु कोटिशो प्रकटेष्वपि. After Krishna's appearance, the king of Vraja conducted a great festival. The Lord then exhibited his various pastimes one after another, beginning with those of his early childhood. Something wrong with my setup, which forces me to move something out. He manifests millions of such pastimes invisible to this world. Literally, in appearances by the millions, which are aprakata. So there are so many different appearances of the Supreme Lord, all happening at the same time. Prishtananda Vrajaitair Sair, Atmanopi Vimohanai, Lilo Lasair Vilasati, Sri Leela Purushottamaha, this divine Leela Purushottam, enjoys his festive pastimes in Vraja, which give great delight to his beloved devotees and enchant everyone, including himself. Asamodhena Bhagwan Vatsalyena Brajeshiyo Sutatvenaiva Sattayor Atmanam Veti Sarvada. Because of the unparalleled and unsurpassable parental love of the king and queen of Vraja, the personality of God always thinks of himself as their son. Kechid Bhagavata Prahur Evamatra Puratana Yuha Pradur Bhavedadyo Grihesha Nakadundubhe Goshthetu Maya Sardham Shri Leela Purushottama. Some devotees of ancient times have said that during this appearance of Krishna, the first of the Vyuha expansion appeared in Vasudev's residence, while Sri Leela Purushottama appeared with his Maya in the cowherd community. This is an alternate explanation of how Krishna appeared as the son of both Nanda and Vasudeva. According to this opinion of certain venerable Vaishnavas, the original Krishna took birth as Nanda's son, and his expansion Vasudeva became Vasudeva's son. Gatva yadvaro goshtham tatra suti griham visham kanyameva param vikshya tamadaya vrajappuram pravishad vasudevastu Shrila Purushottam. Vasudeva, the best of the Yadus, went to the cowherd village where he entered the room. Seeing only a female child, he took her and returned to the city. At that time, Lord Vasudeva merged into Sri Leela Purushottama. Etachati rahasyatvam nogdam tatra kathakrame kintu kvachit prasangena suchite Shri Shukadi. Because this is very confidential, it is not mentioned in the sequential narration of Krishna's pastimes. It is, however, hinted at in certain statements by Shri Shukadeva and others. Yatha Shri Dashame Nandastu Atmaja Utpanne Jatashprado Mahamana. Thus we hear the following in the 10th canto. Nanda Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous. And when Lord Shri Krishna appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed with jubilation. Atmaja literally means born from one's own body. Tatha tatraiva Nanda Swaputramadaya Pushya Yata Udaradhi. Also in the 10th canto, Nanda Maharaj was very liberal and simple. Returning from his journey, he immediately took his son Krishna on his lap. Tathacha Nayam Sukhapo Bhuvan Dehinam Gopika Sutaha. And again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is not so easily accessible to persons in the bodily concept of life. Urasya Krishna. So in these statements, we are coming across this idea that Krishna was literally born to Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. Yashoda Garbhat Jata. Gopika Sutta literally means born from the womb of the Gopi. Tathacha Tatra Shri Brahmastave Vanyasraje Kavalavetra Vishanave No Lakshmashriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. Pashupa Angajaya. And Shri Brahma's prayers in the same 10th canto was one of the king of the cowherds, wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute. You stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. Pashupa Angaja is the source of Pashupa Angajaya. Pashupa Angaja literally means the son born from the body of the cowherd. Pashupa Angajaya iti Pashupanandas Tasya Angajataya. Tatha Shri Yamala Vachanam Sam Udaharanti Krishna Nyo Yada Sambhuto Yah Purna Sos Yatah Paraha Vrindavanam Parityajya Vachinnaiva Gacchati. The following words of Shri Yamala are also sometimes cited. Krishna born among the others is someone other than the complete Krishna. The original Krishna never leaves Vrindavan to go anywhere else. Dvibhuja sarvada sutra na kadachit chaturbhuja gopyai kaya yutastatra parikridati nityada. In Vrindavan, he always has two hands, never four. He plays constantly in the exclusive company of his cowherd girlfriend. Gopya Ekaya, with a singular cowherd girl. This is Radharani, with one. There's nobody who equals Radharani. Rupa Goswami is not saying that Krishna and Vrindavan he's not saying that the Krishna in Vrindavan and the Krishna outside of Vrindavan are two different people. If Krishna ever lived in Vrindavan, why did the Brajavasis suffer such pain of separation that Uddhava had to go there to console them? And why did the Brajavasis travel the great distance to Kurukshetra to meet Krishna? And why do some Puranas say that Krishna visited Vrindavan again? With these questions in mind, someone may propose that Nanda's son, with his Vyuha, Vasudeva, merged within him, left Vrindavan to go to Mathura and elsewhere, and then later returned from Dwaraka to Vrindavan. This explanation would contradict the words of the Yamala Tantra. Rupa therefore answers these questions with reference to Krishna's Prakata and Aprakata Leela, manifest and unmanifest pastimes. Asman mate granthakritam aswarasyameva tatra sati vajaukasam tad vikharabhidhana sambhava. Okay. Swamate tu aprakata prakashamadaya sangati mat. Shri Rupa Goswami answers these questions by explaining about Prakata Leela and Aprakata Leela. Atha Prakata Rupena Krishna Yadupurim Vraje Vrajesha Jatvamachadya Swam Vyanjan Vasudevatam Yo Vasudevod Vibhujas Tatha Bhati Chaturubhujaha. In his manifest form, Krishna travels to the capital of the Yadus. He then hides his identity as a son of the king of Vraja and presents himself instead as Vasudeva. This Vasudeva appears both with 2 arms and with 4. This is Srila Rupa Goswami's explanation of how Krishna leaves Vrindavan in his Prakata Leela. In Mathura, Krishna keeps private his identity as the darling of Vraja to foster the particular loving relationships the Mathuravasis have with him. There he simply shows himself as a son of Vasudeva. Tasta Madhupure Leela Prakataya Yadudvaha Varavatyam Tathayati Tam Tam Leelam Prakashakaha. After displaying various pastimes in Mathura city, the great hero of the Yadus goes to Dwaraka to exhibit many pastimes there. The word Prakashaka indicates the agent of the action of displaying, but according to Panini's grammar, this suffix aka can also sometimes be used as a substitute for the infinitive form prakashitum. These are all Sanskrit grammar rules. It simply means to exhibit many pastimes there. Prakashika. Okay. तत्र आविष्कुरुते व्यूहं प्रद्युम्नाख्यं तृतीयकं यतो व्यूहो निरुद्धाख्यस् तुर्यः प्रकटतां व्रजे. In Dwaraka, he reveals his 3rd Vyuha expansion known as Pradyumna, from whom appears his 4th Vyuha expansion, Aniruddha. So Pradyumna is born as Krishna's son in Dwaraka, and then Aniruddha is born as his son. इति व्यूह चतुष्कस्य लोकोत्तर चमत्क्रिया विवाहाद्याश्च बहुधा लीलास्तत्रैव वर्णिताः. We find descriptions of many different kinds of amazing and supramundane pastimes of these 4 expansions of Godhead, including their marriages. Lokottara, supramundane, Lokottara, Gunottara. According to authorities on Sanskrit poetry, we are supposed to write dramas and other material for stage performances about heroes who are Lokottara, who are supramundane, and who are excellent in qualities also. All 4 Vyuhas take part in Krishna's avatar, but Lord Vasudeva does so while remaining merged in Krishna. Vraje Prakata Leelayam Trim Masan Virho Muna Tatrapya Jani Vispurti Pratur Bhavo Umahre Jamasyah Paratastesham Sakshat Krishnena Sangatihi. During his visible pastimes in Vraja, the devotees felt separation from Krishna for 3 months. After these 3 months, he again appeared there as if manifest anew, and the devotees directly enjoyed his company. How did the Brajavasis survive Krishna's absence after he left them to go to Mathura? They survived because they had to endure the fire of separation for only 3 months. Or looking at this another way, they were able to bear the sweet ecstasy of love and separation for only 3 months. When Krishna again showed himself in Vraja, he attracted the Brajavasis so intensely that they felt as if he had appeared for the first time. We will see this in Brihad Bhagavatam. Just as dyeing cloth with an astringent alkali gives it a brilliant color, so the experience of separation from Krishna intensified the pleasure of the devotee's contact with him. For this purpose, Krishna made them remain without him for some time. So, the Pralambha is there to enhance Sambhoga. Avirbhavagatibhyam sa viprakarasya sambhave. His reappearance occurs in two ways, as revelation and as arrival. Atra avirbhava vaishleshika pramodreka vivashi atachetasam preshtanam sahasayvagre yakra prathur bhavedasau. Of this, Krishna's reappearance as revelation happens when his beloved devotees feel overwhelmed by helplessness, brought on by the excessive languor of separation. Krishna, anxious to relieve them, suddenly appears before them. How Krishna appears to his devotees as if from nowhere is not a matter for speculative analysis. He was already present in Vraja in his invisible form, and by his sweet will, he could easily choose to become visible again. Uddhava Krishna Sandesha Eviryandavadhi Shrutaha Pradurбhavastadavadhi Syad Vraje Vanamalinaha. When these devotees hear Uddhava read Krishna's message, that wearer of forest garlands reappeared in Vraja. Vraje Dwaravati Sthasya Pradurбhavo Murad Vishaha Brihad Vishnu Puranadav Vasakrit Bhadochyate. The Brihad Vishnu Purana and other scriptures repeatedly describe the various ways Lord Muradvit showed himself in Vraja even while he was present in Dwaraka. Vraje Vishamanesmin Pradur Bhuya Haro Tada Bhavetasya Pure Yatra Swapnavan Vrajavasina. Well, Lord Hari thus appeared in Vraja and enjoyed pastimes there. The Vrajavasis remembered his journey to the city as if it were an old dream. When did Krishna show himself again in Vraja? He reappeared at the time Uddhava read his message to the Vrajavasis. Uddhava was sent on his mission to Vrindavan just 3 months after Krishna left. And how did the Vrajavasis react to Krishna's unexpected reappearance? They thought, of course, Krishna never leaves us to go anywhere else. We just dreamt that he went to Mathura. So all that is appearance. Now he's talking about arrival. This is important. Prabhupada also says that when the Vrajavasis, when they hear Krishna's message from Uddhava, it is as good as Krishna being there. Now, Krishna, of course, by his inconceivable potencies, from his aprakata status, from his unmanifest status, he becomes manifest. Atha agamanam prema sandarshayan sveshu swavacha satyatam cha sah punah priyam harir goshtham agachati rathadina. His second type of reappearance as an arrival happens when Krishna comes back to his dear covered village by chariot or some other conveyance to demonstrate his love for his devotees and to keep his promise. So he had made a promise that has to be upheld. Therefore he comes. Swavacha yatha shri dashame tastatha tapyatir vikshya swaprasthane yaduttamaha Satvayamasa sapremair ya ayasya iti dautyakai. Krishna makes this promise in the 10th canto. As he departed, that best of the Yadus saw the gopis' intense suffering, and thus he consoled them by sending a messenger with his loving promise I will return. While trying to leave Vraja on Akrura's chariot, Krishna sent a messenger to assure the gopis he would return very soon. Tatha Yata yuyam vrajam tate vayam cha sneha dukhitan Gyatim vo drashtumeshyamu vidhaya sukhridam sukham iti. And this one, now you should all return to Vraja, dear father. We will come to see you, our dear relatives who suffer in separation from us, as soon as we have given some happiness to your well-wishing friends. Nanda and the other cowherds had accompanied Krishna and Balaram to Mathura to pay their taxes and honor Kamsa's invitation to attend a festival. After the festival, during which Kamsa had hoped to see the end of his two young enemies, but instead suffered his own end, Krishna asked his father to return home to look after his mother and all the other Brajavasis. He himself would stay in Mathura a little longer to help Ugrasena and others. Nija priyatamasyapi vachasa yadumantrinaha etadeva vachasviyam punasteno jvalikritam. Krishna's own words shine brighter because they are supported by the statement of his dearmost friend Uddhava, the Yadu's advisor. With confirmation from a person with Uddhava's integrity, Krishna's promise becomes impossible to doubt. Yatha tatraiva Hatva kamsam rangamadhye pratipam sarvasatvatam yadahava samagatya Krishna satyam karoti tat iti. And in the same 10th canto, now that he has killed Kamsa, the enemy of all the Yadus, in the wrestling arena, Krishna is surely fulfilling his promise to you that he will return. In this statement, Krishna uses the present tense. Uddhava uses the present tense. Satyam karoti. He is fulfilling his promise. He is making it true. The present tense is often used in Sanskrit to describe something that will happen in the near future. Vartamana samipya, vartamana vadva. The present tense may also be used when there is close proximity to the present. Tat satyata prakatita dwaraka vasinam gira. This truth is revealed in the following words of the residents of Dwaraka. Krishna's devotees in Dwaraka confirm the veracity, the truth of Krishna's promises to the gopis and Nanda Maharaj. Lord Krishna speaks the truth always, as he explains to Sri Narada in the Harivamsha. Nandratam hi vacho vipra prokta purvam mayaraja. O sinless Brahmana, I have never spoken an untrue word. Ramachandra says in Ramayana, Andratam nokta purvam me nacha vakshe kadacha. I have never ever spoken untrue. I will never ever speak untrue. Now it's appropriate that this is actually part of Krishna's personality because Ramachandra exhibits some of Krishna's qualities. So, which means Krishna must be having his qualities. So, contrary to common misconceptions, Krishna actually never speaks untruth. The Krishna Nama Stotra of the Brahmanda Purana also describes him as Satyavak Satyasankalpa, true to his word and true to his resolve. How could he, who had never spoken a lie, deceive his most beloved devotees? Devarshim Prati Krishna Satyavak Satyasankalpa Brahmandetas Tan Nama Stotra Yakadachidapi Utrapi Andratam Navati Saha Atipriyeshu Katham Tad Paded. The idea is this: that person who never speaks untruth at any point in time, under any circumstance, how could he speak untruth to those who are most dear to him? Yatha Shri Prathame Yahyam Puja Saram Bhogavan Purun Madhun Vata Sukrit Drikshaya Tatrabdha Koti Pratimah Kshano Bhavet Ravim Vinakshno Riva Nastavachyuta. in the first canto, O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to meet your friends and relatives, the Kurus and Madhus, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years, O infallible one. At the time, our lives seem useless like eyes bereft of the sun. So notice how they deal with this. Whenever you go away to meet your friends and relatives, the Kurus and Madhus, the Madhus refer to those who live in Mathura Mandal. And since Mathura was already empty, you can only refer to Vrindavan, Vraja. And whenever you go away, now we know that Krishna often leaves Dwaraka to meet the Kurus. The Kurus here refer to the Pandavas, and Madhus. Kurun Mathura. To the descendants of King Kuru, the inhabitants of Mathura, Vrajapuri, So from that we understand that Krishna periodically goes. The residents of Dwaraka enjoyed seeing Krishna on a daily basis, but on occasion he had business elsewhere, sometimes with the Pandavas in Hastinapur and sometimes with Nanda and the cowherds in Vraja. As in the darkness, one's eyes cannot see anything and thus serve no useful function. So whenever Krishna went away, the devotees in Dwaraka felt their lives to be useless. Atra karikye bho ambujaksha supradam nandadinam didrikshaya bhavan apsa sarasman apahaya gato madhun mathuram iti vispashtam mathura mandale vrajam tadanim supradam tatra mathupuryam bhavataha. Karika is explaining this. O lotus-eyed one, you leave us and go to the country of the Madhus to see your beloved Nanda and others. The country of the Madhus means Mathura, and Mathura must mean Vraja, because at that time none of Krishna's beloved devotees lived in Mathura city. When Krishna established Dwaraka as a safe fortress, far from the threat of Jarasandha, he resettled the inhabitants of Mathura city there. Tatra yoga prabhavena nitva sarva janam harihi. Lord Hari used his mystic power to bring everyone there. Sarva janam means every single person. Mathura was left completely unpopulated. Sarva shabda upadanena tasyam Prajamatranam abhava tadvatinaha supradastad ekadeshastha nandadayo vahita. Kimcha ratena mathuram gatva dantavakram nihatyacha spashtam pad me puranesya Krishna syokta vraja gatihi. Moreover, the Padma Purana explicitly describes that after going by chariot to Mathura and killing Dantavakra, Krishna went to Vraja. The word cha and in this verse indicates that Krishna killed both Dantavakra and his brother Viduratha. Dantavakra nihatyacha, having killed Dantavakra and so on, etc. Tatra gadyam padyam cha yatha. Here's a prose and a verse passage. Krishnopitam hatva yamanam uttirya nanda vrajam gatva sot kanthau pitarav abhivadyashvasya dabhyam sashru sekam alingitaha sakala gopa vriddhan pranam yashvasya bahuratna vastra bharanadibhis tatrasthan sarvan santarpayam asa. This is narrated in prose and verse. Krishna killed him and then crossed the Yamuna and went to Nanda's cowherd pastures. He offered respects to his anxious parents, received their embraces and bathed in their tears. Bowing down to all the elder cowherds, he consoled them. He satisfied everyone in Vraja, giving them many presents such as jewels, clothing and ornaments. Kalindya uline ramye punya vriksha samachite gopanari bhiranisham ridayam asa keshavaha. Ramyakeli sukhenaiva gopavesha dhara prabhu bahuprema rasenatra masattvayam vasaha iti. On Kalindi's charming shore, abundant with pious trees, Keshava played continuously with cowherd women. dressing as a cowherd, the Supreme Lord remained in Braja for 2 months, enjoying the pleasure of his enchanting pastimes in many different moods of loving exchange. On the authority of this statement, we know that for 2 months, Krishna again played in Vrindavan in his Prakata form. That means this is a reappearance. This is not just, no, this is an arrival. This is not just an appearance. Arrival means that it is part of the storyline of his Prakata Leela. Prakata Leela refers to the pastimes that Krishna displays to the conditioned souls of that particular universe. Aprakata Leela refers to everything that's going on in the background. Many things happen. Atra karika yadu tiryet yuttaranam tata plavanam uchyate dushtam hatva vrajayanam snanapurvam mihochitam. A karika, versified explanation. Here, the word crossed indicates that Krishna swam across. After killing the demon, Krishna appropriately took a bath before going to Vraja to purify himself. Atah prakata leelayam apya yogolpayevahi iti dhama traye Krishno viharatyeva sarvada. Thus, in his visible pastimes as well, separation from Krishna is experienced for only a short time. The implication is that Krishna enjoys perpetually in his 3 abodes. Vrajagamana kalecha padmokti nyacha vartate. The Padma Purana further describes what happened when Krishna arrived in Vraja. Yatha atha tatrastha nanda gopadaya sarve jana putra daradi sahita pashu pakshim mrigadayascha vasudeva prasadena dityarupadhara vimana marudha paramam vaikuntha lokam avapuriti. Then Nandagopa and all the other men, along with their children, wives, other household members, and domestic animals, and accompanied by the birds, wild animals, and other creatures, boarded a divinely beautiful airplane. By the grace of Lord Vasudeva, they then attained the supreme abode, Vaikuntha. The Vasudeva mentioned here is a son of Nanda, who had just come back from residing with Vasudeva. Nano padme nandadinam vaikuntha gate uktatvat vraje tat sambandha leela nasya tatah katham vraja leela nitya. In Padma Purana it has been described that Nanda and others, they went to Vaikuntha. So then how would there be pastimes in Vraja? That is brought out here. Atra karike, 2 verses of explanation. Vrajeshade ramshabhuta ye dronadya avatan Krishna staneva vaikunthe prahino diti samprattam. 2 karikas on this. Krishna thus sent back to Vaikuntha the partial expansions of the king of Vraja, Drona and others who had previously descended to the earth. This was quite appropriate. Preshthebhyopi priyatamair janair gokula vasibhi vrindaranye sadaivaso viharam kurite hari. But with the residents of Gokula, who are the dearest of those dear to him, Krishna eternally enjoys his pastimes in Vrindavan. Someone may doubt whether Krishna's pastimes in Vraja can be eternal if Nanda and his other Vraja devotees went back to Vaikuntha. Here is the explanation. They didn't. The original associates didn't. Krishna perpetually enjoys his Aprakata Leela, unmanifest pastimes, with his favorite persons in the most sacred location on earth, Mathura Mandala. Yes. Okay. Skanda Yodhya Mahimani Saumitre Shruyate Yatha. We also hear something from Saumitri in the Ayodhya Mahatmya of the Skanda Purana. This is just like Yatha, like what we hear from Saumitri. Saumitri is Sumitra's son, Lakshmana, in Ram Leela. In the Ayodhya Mahatmya section of the Skanda Purana. So now, Srila Rupa Goswami is going to give a comparison. Tathahi tatah sheshatmatam yatam lakshmanam satyasangaram uvacham madhuram shakra sarvasya cha sapashyatah. Then, as everyone looked on, with sweet words, Indra addressed Lakshmana, who always keeps his promises and with whom Anantashesh resided at that time. Notice this, with whom Anantashesh resided at that time. Anantashesh was inside Lakshmana. It is not exceptional that demigods like Drona merged into Nanda and other Vrajavasis, later to be separated again and taken to Vaikuntha. The Skanda Purana describes a similar occurrence during Lord Ramachandra's pastimes, as when Krishna appeared on earth, Vasudeva merged within him. When Lakshmana appeared, Anantashesha merged within him. Lakshmana is the original Vyuha Sankarshan, and Anantashesha is his expansion who lives in the subterranean realm. We already know about Anantashesha. It's a living entity who is empowered by the Supreme Law. Indra Uvacha Lakshmanotishta Shigram Tvam Arohasva Padam Swakam Devakaryam Kritam Veera Tvaya Vipunishudana Nisudana Vaishnavam Paramam Sthanam Prapnuhi Swam Sanatanam Bhavan Murti Samayata Sheshopi Virasatpanaha. Indra said, O Lakshmana, please arise and quickly ascend to your proper place. You have completed your work on behalf of the demigods, O hero, O destroyer of your enemies. Please enter the supreme abode of Vishnu, your own eternal place. Your own form, Shesha, with a effulgent serpenthood, has arrived. Tascha Ityuktva Surarajendro Lakshmanam Surasangataha Shesham Prasthapya Patale Bhubharad Dharana Kshamam Lakshmanam Yanamaropya Pratasthe Divamadara Iti. Then, in the company of his heavenly followers, Indra, the king of the demigods, thus addressed Lakshmana. Indra then sent Anantashesh, who can support the heavy weight of the earth, back to Patala. And then he placed Lakshmana on a vehicle and with great respect sent him back to heaven. So he sent him back to the spiritual world. So on one hand, you find Lakshmana going and then Anantashesha he went. So that gives an indication. Ayam arthaha. Shri Ramena saha avatirane sankarshana vyuhe lakshmane patala talastho bhudari shesha sayujam prapya asthat. So Shesha, who holds the earth and who resides in Patala, he had merged into Lakshmana's body, Lakshmana, who is Sankarshana of the Chaturvyuha. And Lakshmana had appeared, had descended along with Sri Rama. Devakarya Nirvritte, when the work for the demigods was executed, Lakshmana Shesha Nishkramya Patala Magat. Then that Anantashesha, he left Lakshmana and he went for Patala. Lakshmanastu Vaishnavam Padam. Whereas Lakshmana reached the abode of Lord Vishnu. Iti. Amshini Amsha Yogas Tato Nirgamascha Iti Na Anapurvam. Therefore, from this we understand that the union of the source and expansion and the separation of the source and expansion, this is not unprecedented. This These things happen. Apitu Shastra Siddham eva. This is well known from scriptures. Vilam cha prakatanam tatra dvaravatyaam chikirshuna swayam prakashyate tenam munishapadi kaitavam. Similarly, when Krishna wanted to make his Dwaraka pastimes invisible again, he personally arranged the deception involving the sages cursing and so on. Devadyam shavat tarane yetu vrishnishwava taran. Shirabdhishayi rupastai sartham swapadam apnuyat. In his form as the Lord who lies on the milk ocean, he returned to his own abode. At the time, those partial expansions of demigods and others who had descended among the Vrishnis also returned to their former places. Now, these are all commonly understood. You open Brahmavivarta Purana, you get to see the different forms of these Vishnu Tattvas. They leave Krishna and they go away, and then Krishna himself goes to Goloka Vrindavan. Nitya Leela Parikara Yesyur Yadu Varadayah Taisardham Bhagavan Krishna Dvaravatyam Eva Divyati. With the best of the Yadus and others who comprise this entourage in his eternal pastimes in Dwaraka, the Supreme Lord Krishna always resides there in all his glory. Krishna is eternally present in all three of his abodes. At the time of his descent to earth, his Amsha, Aniruddha, who rests on the milk ocean, entered him. At that time, Amshas of the demigods entered the bodies of the Yadus. Krishna. Okay. Then, when Krishna wanted to wind up his Prakata Leela, manifest pastimes, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu and the demigods returned to their respective places. Krishna remained as always in his Aprakata Leela in Dwaraka with his eternal devotees. Dhamasya vidham proktam mathuram dvarvati tatha mathuram chad vidha prahu gokulam puramevacha. It is said that Krishna's abode has two divisions, Mathura and Dwaraka. And that Mathura also has two parts, Gokula and the city of Mathura. Jattu Golokanamasya Tacha Gokula Vaibhavam San Goloko Yatha Brahma Samhitayam Yashputaha. The abode known as Goloka is an opulent expansion of Gokula. We hear about Goloka in the Brahma Samhita. The discussion of Krishna's eternal abodes is not complete without a description of his supreme Dhama. Now he is beginning to describe the nature of Goloka. Goloka namne nijadhamni tale chatasya devi mahesha haridhama suteshu teshu te te prabhava chaya vihitasya yena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami iti. Below the planet named Goloka Vrindavan are the planets known as Devi Dham, Mahesham and Haridham. These are opulent in different ways. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. This verse mentions the realms of Vishnu, Shiva, and Durga in reverse order of superiority. Lord Vishnu rules the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. Lord Shiva presides in an intermediate region between those of spirit and matter. And Shiva's consort, Devi, creates and controls the material world. Above all other worlds lies Krishna's Goloka. Devi Vidkramena Yojam Harim Mahesha Deva Devi Dhama Su Ityartha. So, Tathacha Agre, and a little later in Brahma Samhita, Shriyah Kantaha Kantaha Paramapurushah Kalpataravo Druma Bhumish Chinta Maniganamayi Toyam Amritam Tatha Ganam Natyam Ganam Vivamshi Priyasakhi Chidanandam Jyoti Paramapita Das Swadyam Apicha Sayatra Kshirabdhis Sarati Surabhibhyascha Sumaha Nimeshardakyopi Vrajati Nahiyatrapi Samaya Bhaje Shvetadvipam Tamaham Hagolo Kamitiyam Vidantaste Santakshiti Virulacharah Katipaye Iti. And later in Sri Brahma Samhita, I worship the transcendental realm known as Shvetadvipa, where many loving consorts, Lakshmis in their unalloyed spiritual essence, perform amorous service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, their only lover. There, every tree is wish fulfilling, the soil is made of purple gems, and the water is nectar. Every word is a song, and every step a dance, and the flute is the dearmost friend. Everything in that realm, being of the nature of the Supreme, is effulgent with transcendental bliss and highly relishable. A great ocean of milk flows from the numberless cows there, and no one experiences the passing away of even half a moment. That realm of Goloka is known to only a few self-realized souls in this world. In Goloka, there is only one hero. And there are many heroines, the gopis, the supreme goddesses of fortune. There, the light of the moon and other luminaries shines in its original form as the Supreme Person's expanded effulgence, which contains all qualities. The inhabitants there not only enjoy seeing that effulgence, but also enjoy relishing its taste, smelling its fragrance, and so on. Time in Goloka does not contain the fixed divisions of days, months, years, and so on found in every material realm. Goloka is called Shvetadvip because it is white. Shvetadvip means the white island. Because it is white, Shweta, in the sense of spotlessly pure, untouched by any trace of illusion, and because it is an island, Dvipa, in the sense of being above and separate from all other planets. It is not the same Shvetadvipa as the residence of Lord Aniruddha in the Milk Ocean within this material universe. Maya Gandha Asparshat Shveta. It is called white because there is not even a touch of a trace of Maya. It's not even the smell of Maya then. Sarvosatvad Dvipam. It is called a Dvipa, an island, because it is superior to every other place. Tadatma Vaibhavatvam cha tasyatan mahimon nate. Goloka is considered a non-different and equally opulent expansion of Gokula, because Gokula's glories are even greater than Goloka's. Yatha Patala Khande Aho Madhupuri Dhanya Vaikuntacha Gariyasi Dinam Menkam Nivasena Haro Bhakti Prajayate, as stated in the Patala Khanda of Padma Purana. Oh, how fortunate is the city of Mathura! It is greater than Vaikuntha. By residing there for just a single day, one develops pure devotion for Lord Hari. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwar, Vati, Shaiva, Saptaita, Mokshadaika. These 7 holy cities bestow liberation: Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avanti, and Dwaraka. एवं सप्त पुरीणाम तो सर्वोत्कृष्टम तो माथुरम श्रूयताम महिमा देवी वैकुंठम भुवनोत्तमः इति. But the most excellent of these 7 holy cities is Mathura. Oh Goddess, please hear Mathura's glories, which exceed those of the Vaikuntha planets. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan confirms in his commentary that in this verse and verse 503, Goloka is included as the Vaikuntha region, the topmost region. But how can the Mathura district on earth be even greater than Goloka? People go to Mathura and then return to their regular lives, and the residents suffer from old age and other miseries. No, Brajabhumi is nonetheless the supreme abode. As by his inconceivable potency, Lord Hari simultaneously stays in everyone's heart and yet remains transcendental beyond all material existence. So despite superficial appearances, Brajabhumi remains absolutely perfect and transcendent. Those who reach there by fulfilling the prerequisites of sadhana never return. And as materialists saw Krishna in his Prakata Leela as a powerless young boy, Naradaraka, due to our faulty vision, we see the residents of Braja suffering from old age and other material impediments. Gokula on the earth is at least as good as Goloka in the spiritual sky. And as revealed in this authoritative verse cited by Srila Rupa Goswami, it is sometimes considered superior. Srila Rupa will explain this point further in the remaining part of his chapter. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has also emphasized this. He's also emphasized this superiority of Gokula. नित्यलीलास्पदत्वं च पूर्वमेव प्रदर्शितम् अत एवास्य पाद्मे च श्रूयते नित्यरूपता. We have already shown that Mathura is the place of Krishna's eternal pastimes. Therefore, as we hear from the Padma Purana, Mathura itself is eternal. Nityam me Mathuram vidhi vanam vrindavanam tatha yamunam gopakanyascha tatha gopala balakan. Understand that my Mathura and my Vrindavan forest are both eternal. So also are the Yamuna, the daughters of the cowherd and the cowherd boys. One should not think that since Gokula is present within the material world, it cannot be eternal. The personality of Godhead is also present in the material world, expanding as a super soul in every creature's heart. That does not deprive him of his eternality. If we take shelter of the authority of Vedic scripture and the opinions of pure Vaishnavas, we can enter these transcendental mysteries. Sattu Mathura Bhurupa Parichinno Pyathat Bhutaha Sphara Sankuchitascha Syat Krishna Leela Anusarataha. Although Mathura's area is apparently limited, it amazingly expands and contracts according to Krishna's specific pastimes. The residents of Rajabhumi, they know this. Atraiva Jandamalapi Paryaptim Upagachati Vrindavana Pratikepi Yana Bhutaiva Vedhasa. Many universes can be accommodated within Mathura, as Brahma witnessed in Vrindavan. These verses explain why Gokula can be considered greater than the infinite worlds of Vaikuntha, including Goloka. First, Krishna showed Brahma thousands of universes within the Vrindavan forest. That place is now occupied by the village of Chaturmukha or Chaumuhan. That place has the name Chaturmukha. Ityato Rasalilayam Puline Tatra Yamune Pramala Shatakotyopi Mamuriyat Tatkimat Bhutam. Considering this, why should we wonder how billions of young women could crowd the shore of the Yamuna during the Rasalila in the Mathura district? According to the Puranas, billions of gopis participated in Krishna's Rasalila in the Vrindavan forest. Abhuda kulito raso vanita shatakoti bhihi. The Rasa dance was crowded with billions of young women. They're all happily there. We are stuck in Shoka, Moha, Bhaya here with our own temporary Maya identities, one after another, given by a punishment as Mahamaya for not fully surrendering to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. All right, so I'll stop with this. Let me just put a note that I'm supposed to start from text. What was that? 511. Fine. Okay, any questions?
Prabhuji, can I ask one question?
Hare Krishna Guru. Where are you right now?
Pardon?
Where are you right now?
I'm in Vrindavan.
Oh,
Hari Bol. Prabhuji, can you just explain that point about the Vasudev Krishna? I mean, when they went to Mathura, which Krishna merged in what and what happened? Can you just explain that point again? When he went to Mathura.
Krishna goes to Mathura, and then in his prakata pastimes, manifest pastimes, in his unmanifest form, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is very much there. But we are talking about what is shown to the conditioned souls, that is the Prakata Leela. So then Krishna's Vasudeva expansion comes this side, performs various pastimes, and then he goes back. That's all.
But in 466 it is written that Lord Vasudeva does so while remaining merged in Krishna. That means if Vasudeva is going out, Krishna is also going out.
From the ultimate perspective, Vasudeva is merged in Krishna's body. But that is like when Krishna is born. Krishna is born to Yashoda, Krishna is born to Devaki. And then when Vasudeva takes Devaki's Krishna to the other side, and he merges into Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So like that.
But in 466, if you see the purport says that at the time of going to Mathura, Lord Vasudeva does so while remaining merged in Krishna.
Wait. Lord Vasudeva does so while remaining merged in Krishna.
That is how he goes to Mathura. Right.
In Dwaraka, he reveals his third Vyuha expansion, known as Pradyumna, from whom appears his fourth Vyuha expansion, Aniruddha. We find descriptions of many different kinds of amazing and supramundane pastimes of these four expansions of Godhead, including their marriages. All four Vyuhas take part in Krishna's avatar, but Lord Vasudeva does so while remaining merged in Krishna. This Vasudeva appears to be Vasudeva Sankarshan Pradyumna Aniruddha, that Vasudeva. He is merged in Yadava Krishna.
So that Vasudeva Chaturvya expansion is obviously different from Vasudeva Krishna, right?
Let's start with some terminology here. The Chaturvyuha Vasudeva. By that I mean the first Vishnu expansion within the first Chaturvyuha. When I say Yadava Krishna, I mean the form of Krishna who deals with the Yadus and so on. So the Vasudeva of Chaturvyuha is in the Yadava Krishna. Yadava Krishna is the son of Vasudeva.
Sorry, say that again.
The Krishna of Yadu dynasty, he is the son of Vasudeva.
Correct. And in him that Vasudeva...
The confusion comes because of the expression Vasudeva, which can either refer to Sankarshan, the Vasudeva of Chaturvyuha or the son of Vasudeva.
Yeah, that's why it causes little confusion. Prabhuji, one more question. This killing of Dantavakra was mentioned. So my question is that did this happen after killing of Kamsa, or there was a long gap, or before? Not very clear.
No, I don't understand your question.
Kamsa was killed first or Dantavakra was killed first?
Kamsa was killed first.
And then after that, there was a long gap and he still continued to stay in Mathura, Krishna?
No, he stayed in Mathura for some time. And then when Jarasandha kept on attacking, then Krishna transferred all the residents of Mathura to Dwaraka.
So Dantavakra was killed in Dwarka or Mathura?
No, that's a whole pastime. You will find it in Krishna book. You'll find it in 10th canto also. It's a different. It comes. Where is, later. Yeah. After he kills Shalva, much later. It's just a sample to show that, this, the people have the general misconception that Krishna just went to event. Okay, here is a question from Ishtadev Prabhu. Gokula is superior to Goloka. Why this has to be said at all? Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has often brought up this point that Gokula is supreme. He says that there are certain features of Krishna that are best exhibited in Gokula. Also, Goloka here refers to I don't want to get into this. When you study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, you will get an understanding of this. Krishna has many expansions. And sometimes Goloka refers to some of the universal planets in the spiritual world where he resides in such opulent manifestations. But Gokula is actually superior to that. The Gokula has an unmanifested aspect and a manifested aspect. The unmanifested aspect is what Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami refers to as Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan, you'll find this expression direct in Chaitanya Charitamrita itself. I'll show you. I didn't share. Oops, what is it? Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation of the development of the creeper of pure Krishna Bhakti. Tabejaya Tadupari Golo Vrindavan Krishna Charan Kalpavrikshe Kore Aroham. Being situated in one's heart and being watered by Shravan Kirtan, the Bhakti creeper grows more and more. In this way, it attains the shelter of the desire tree of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is eternally situated in the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, in the topmost region of the spiritual sky. So this is Goloka Vrindavan. This is the same as the unmanifest Gokula. Antavpur Golok Shri Vrindavan Jahanitya Sthiti Mata Pita Bandhugan. The internal abode is called Goloka Vrindavan. It is there that Lord Krishna's personal friends, associates, father and mother live. So there are Krishna has 3 places of residence: internal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, intermediate abode, spiritual sky, external abode, this material world. Krishna lives in 3 places. So this is his Antahpur. We know very well from the Vedic scriptures that Antahpur refers to the inner quarters of a king. So the Goloka that has been referred to here by Rupa Goswami, it's not exactly Goloka Vrindavan. It's Goloka, but of a Vaikuntha nature. Why it has to be said? Because the abode of Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is superior. What difference it makes if both are said to be same? No, this Goloka is a Vaikuntha planet. It is not the Goloka Vrindavan that we keep talking about. Within ISKCON, we just keep talking about Goloka Vrindavan. The Goloka Vrindavan is the Aparakat Gokula. We accept billions of gopis with Shri Krishna. Yes, we accept billions of gopis with Krishna. And that happens in Gokula. And that unmanifest Gokula is what we refer to as Goloka Vrindavan. Anything else? If you have further questions, we can discuss it in the Telegram group. Not too difficult. Something will become clear. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has spoken about this. That is all because those who worship Radha Krishna in Swakiya Rasa, Swakiya Madhurya Rasa, there's a abode of Krishna where in the spiritual world where he lives with Radharani, married, living as the king and queen of that planet. That is the Goloka that Rupa Goswami referred to here. It is not our Goloka Vrindavan. It's a Goloka Vaikuntha. There are all kinds of things going on. That's one reason why I prefer to just be silent as much as possible. Otherwise, you get an information explosion. So many things are there. This is not Goloka Vrindavan. All right. Okay. If you have further questions, then we discuss it in Telegram. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.